Alrighty, so you want to access the internet in China. You know you're going to need a VPN for that, and I've got just the suggestions to make sure you get access, but stay safe and anonymous. Now, whether you reside in China or you're going there for a visit, a reliable VPN is key if you want to have access to WhatsApp, YouTube, Netflix, X, and the many other domains and apps that have been blocked in China. And that's because China has this thing affectionately known as the Great Firewall, which is a combination of laws and technologies used to control internet use within the country. It's so pervasive that this firewall also limits access to most VPNs. So finding the right one is super important. But before considering which VPN you want, you need to know which mobile service provider to use. So China has 3 main cell providers: China Telecom, China Mobile, and China Unicom. And they all have different server data. And while one may limit your VPN access, the other 2 might not. But unfortunately, the situation is it's always changing as the firewall advances. So there really is no set cell provider to use, but we can work with what's effective for now. So at the time of making this video and while testing ExpressVPN from within mainland China, ExpressVPN works with both China Telecom and China Mobile, and potentially in a limited capacity with China Unicom, although there are quite a few hoops to jump through. I was also able to get access to the Express website with China Telecom, whereas with China Mobile, I had to use an alternative website name provided by Express in order to access the website to buy the VPN. That might be what you have to do though, since China is getting really savvy against the use of VPNs. As for Surfshark, it works fine with China Telecom, but not with China Mobile, unfortunately. But again, this may or may not change. Now, if you're outside of China, you definitely want to download your VPN before going there. But if you're already within mainland China, then you might need to use the alternative domain names for the VPN websites in case you're not able to access them. The links below should get you to the websites just fine, but if not, please let us know in the comments, or you can reach out to the live chat support of the VPN you want, and they'll just send you a mirror link or download instructions through email. So if you run into any problems, all you have to do is contact them and they'll help you with the setup. And by the way, these alternate links are constantly getting updated because VPNs like Express and Surfshark are always trying to troubleshoot and help people in China gain access to the service. So always make sure that you have that latest link. So in general, when it comes to cell providers, China Telecom is more widely used and it's a lot less strict than China Mobile. Now, another thing you should know about China is that the Great Firewall is more technologically advanced than any firewall out there, and it does its best to limit VPN access. There are also periods during political and social events where the interference with VPNs is increased. So you're going to need a VPN that has a kill switch so that in case you accidentally lose a connection to the VPN server, the VPN will cut your internet connection and none of your data will leak to the ISP or the Chinese government. You can always ask their support about updates of the best servers or configurations that are working best at any given moment. Now, after going through so many VPNs and testing their capabilities for China, including NordVPN, Viper VPN, private internet access, and private VPN, Express and Surfshark come out on top. The others are either currently not working within China or have had very limited success, but that might change in the future. As I said, the Great Firewall is always changing. But as of right now, the main VPNs I'd recommend are Express and Surfshark. So out of the 2, my recommendation is Express, since they've demonstrated that they truly protect you by not logging your data. It's been pretty consistent and effective in China. And it's also incredibly easy to use. Like for setting up, you don't have to do anything other than download the app and log in. It turns out everything is set by default for China for the most part, so you don't really have to manually configure it or anything. The only small issue is that if you're already in China, you may have trouble accessing the Express website in order to install the app. But as I mentioned previously, you can always access the alternate domain websites and then you should be good to go. And if you're on China Telecom, then you can just click the discount links below and it'll take you straight to the VPN website. Now, what you might notice is that Express doesn't have a lot of bonus features, but they do that on purpose to keep it super user-friendly across the board. What Express does have is split tunneling, a password manager, and a threat manager to block trackers and malicious sites, as well as some ads. And the main thing here is that it's super fast at connecting to servers, so there's no waiting around unprotected. They've also recently added a refresh button for if there's ever buffering or connectivity issues. You wouldn't have to disconnect and reconnect. You could just hit the refresh button. So it's not like Express has no features or add-ons. They just keep it streamlined to have everything be sleek and run fast. And then you've got a huge list of over 3,000 servers in 105 countries that you can connect to, which would help you access all sorts of content around the world. So if you want the most secure and easiest to use VPN that doesn't require much, if any, configuration to work in China, ExpressVPN is a great option. Now, next up is Surfshark, which will be my other reliable pick for China. And while it has all the essentials like Express, it gives you even more features to play with. And like Express, you may need to get the alternate domain link to access the website in order to download and install the app, because the main website link may not work if you're already inside of China. Currently, Surfshark only works with China Telecom. So if you plan to get Surfshark, you need to have China Telecom for it to work right now too. So with Surfshark, you get this feature called No Borders mode, which is one of the reasons I've included Surfshark on this list. No Borders mode can detect when someone is trying to restrict your network, and it'll automatically switch on and connect you to the server that works best under the network restrictions. So this feature works well with their camouflage feature, which helps confuse internet service providers from knowing you're using a VPN. There's also rotating IP, which is a feature that changes your IP address at set intervals. And then as an alternative add-on to that is dedicated IP for when or if you want an IP address that only you can use. Surfshark has a few more servers than Express at 3,200, but in 100 countries, but overall still plenty to work with. So ultimately, if you're looking to sacrifice a little speed to spend the least amount of money, but still have the core features of a premium VPN, then Surfshark would be a good choice here. So that's pretty much it. These two VPNs are my top recommendations for China. There is also Astral, which is usually successful at accessing the normal internet in China since it has something called the Stealth VPN protocol, but it's significantly more expensive and doesn't provide the same guarantee about privacy and security that Express and Surfshark do. Express is a premium VPN with a strong emphasis on security and utmost anonymity, and it's perfect for those who are privacy conscious and are looking for the best VPN overall at a much better price. And Surfshark is definitely a great budget VPN, so an even better price, that gets the job done without sacrificing any of the necessary security features that you usually get with more expensive VPNs. And you can share it around with as many of your friends and family as you like, since they don't have a limit on the number of devices used on one account. But ultimately, when setting up your VPN for use in China, it's always best to check with the VPN support for their best recommendations on which server settings and service providers are best to use at the time. Since, as I said, things are always changing and the firewall keeps getting better and better at detecting and blocking VPNs. And also, don't forget that you may need to access the VPNs via their alternative domain sites in order to install them and get them working if you're already in China. Luckily, both these VPNs have 24/7 live chat support to help you with any technical issues you might face. And if not there, then through their email. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it helped you understand the internet situation in China a little better, or otherwise helped you make a decision on which VPN to get for it there. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to check the links out in the description to grab yourself the best discounts possible. There are also full reviews if you need more details on either of these VPNs before making a choice. So stay safe out there on the internet and have a good one.